Breaking news to get you just coming in now. More clear evidence that this partial government shutdown may be far from over. We're now getting this from Chief of Staff Mick Mulvaney. The White House seeking a list of programs from agency leaders that would be hurt if the shutdown lasts into March or April. He is asking for this list no later than Friday. And so it continues.
We're working very hard to get the pricing down as we really do things that are going to make it much better, and ultimately it will result probably in the court case termination, and we'll all get together and we'll come up with real health care.
And that was President Trump this afternoon at the White House discussing the hidden costs of health care and ways to lower prices and make costs more transparent for patients. Today we got a new study by the Kaiser Family Foundation. It shows a majority of Americans support a single-payer health care plan in theory. So how should the president and Republicans react to this, which is certainly going to be a 2020 campaign issue? Panel?
Well, I think, first of all, the Republicans should have a plan. They haven't had a plan since in 8 years. I mean, the failure of the past 2 years of a Republican-led Congress was somehow you campaigned for 8 years on repealing and replacing Obamacare, and they haven't done it. So I think that the Republican Party deserves a lot of criticism for this, for not having developed a plan. And I still haven't seen anything else on the table. I think our colleague here might have a good one.
Scott?
Well, it should be easy, though, guys, because if you want to refute that, which, by the way, of that 56%, I believe 100% of them couldn't explain how to pay for it. And that's the big problem, too, going forward. Even 8 out of 10 dentists surveyed don't know how to pay for it, because even if you go to the most onerous tax policies known to man, even from AOC's side, you still can't pay for Medicare for all. Just look at the ACA, guys. Look at the increased costs that happen with health care. They say, access to health plans that people lost, the access to doctors, all those things that happened that were promised to us that never did happen. That's the way to look at this thing,
Scott,
to defeat it.
I agree with you on it, but I still don't see how the Republicans are winning the messaging more on this. I mean, going into the midterms, health care, to many people's surprise, was actually what was rated as one of the most important issues for voters that voted out the House Republicans.
Yeah, cost is not going to being an accountant is not going to win the argument. What we have to point out is that what they're proposing is health care for fewer people. If you're older, you're not going to get that operation you wanted in a timely manner. You're not going to get the kidney transplant you need. You're not going to get a lot of things. So it's health care for less. And then you hit on the fact, don't you want to be able to control your own health care? And there are ways to do it. Take LASIK surgery for the eyes. Costs less today than it did 15 years ago. Why? Because you weren't tied with third-party payers.
The scary cost proposition is the system we already have. We spend 20% of GDP in this country. By the time you talk about federal spending, health care premiums, out-of-pockets, other rich countries spend 11, 12%, and they get better health outcomes. So we're already doing it the worst possible way on cost.
It's not the quality of health care in those countries. They just limit it. So if you need kidney dialysis, you're above the age of 60 in Britain, you don't get it.
The benefit of Medicare...
They put a cap on it. And Medicare here is subsidized tens of billions of dollars.
The benefit of Medicare is it's already up and working. It has done better than other parts of the healthcare system in containing costs. People who are using Medicare like it. I'm not saying that's the plan. I'm saying that's probably the leading contender.
You have very few effective measures against fraud, which insurance companies have to have. You get subsidized. And by the way, the most popular part of Medicare is Medicare Advantage, where you go to private companies instead of the traditional Medicare. Again, free markets you ever allow it would work.
But Steve, why has the Republican Party failed for almost 10 years to articulate the vision that you just laid out in 2 minutes?
Because they don't understand, for all their rhetoric, what free markets are like. We have an insane system where you cover things like you need a Band-Aid. If you need to water your lawn, you don't go to your insurance company, your homeowner's insurance company, to fill up your lawnmower. So
Steve needs to run for president again.
Have real free market. By the way, that's coming. The U.S. consumers now lay out $400 billion a year for health care. And so you're starting to see the rise of real consumer markets, more transparency on pricing, and it's going to happen like Uber did with taxis. It's going to come not from the politicians, but from consumers.
Yeah. Well,
tech innovations.
We got to go, but drug prices and what's being done there is another element to this whole conversation. Well, climate